You go sell some plasma.
Go sell your bone marrow.
Can you sell bone marrow?
I don't know.
You can fry it up and eat it.
Hey, kidney, hey, dude, get rid of one of your kidneys. I'll get you a mixer, no problem.
Yeah. So this is the Childhood's End trailer.
Childhood's End.
Childhood's End.
Looks good.
Yes, I'm on board. I like the aliens coming and acting like they're our friends, and then they're our actual overlords.
That's weird. Have they ever done a show like that before?
That's what I can remember.
I think they've had V's been done twice, right?
Right, yeah.
But they come in peace.
Right.
There's nothing to fear.
What was that? You remember the Dolph Lundgren movie, I Come in Peace?
Yeah, that's a...
But you go in pieces.
pieces.
Yeah,
they
Childhood Ends. That's a new. This comes out December 14th.
Sci-Fi Network original, yeah.
And they're going to run all 6 hours of it. It's like a miniseries.
Miniseries, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you think you got a handle on the show, the
way they
who's
roll.
in the mix, the channels you're going to watch, the shows you got, and then like the Sci-Fi is going to drop like 2 or 3 shows on us that we're going to be interested in.
They completely scrambled up my December because I know what I'm going to be watching.
They're bringing their A game, right?
Yeah, well, good for them because I can remember for the longest time it's like I didn't even stop at the Sci-Fi Channel. I was like,
well, I watched Defiance, which unfortunately has been canceled after 3 seasons. The Dark Matter's okay.
And they ran all the Stargates there.
Yeah, that's
Sci-Fi.
true.
Of course, they lost their bread and butter main, claim to fame show with the reimagined Battlestar Galactica. Well,
yeah, but that's
greatest show ever.
A gazillion years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
2004.
TV time. That was a century ago.
Wasn't that 2004 when Battlestar?
The original BSG was. It seems about right. Let's see.
I think that's correct.
Fact checking.
Yeah, this Childhood End. It's based off an Arthur C. Clarke book.
Yeah, I saw that in the trailer. I didn't know if it was just they had done something in terms of like worked with him on the content or actually one of his work, but it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it was first published 1953. So it's been the story is out there. So story follows the peaceful alien invasion of Earth by the mysterious overlords.
Aren't all invasions from space peaceful?
Why can't you show us your face? You would not like it. It's ugly as a mud road.
So here's
the only aliens you're gonna like is if they look like 6 from Battlestar Galactica.
2 things about alien overlords that come to us. If they can travel faster than light to get here, their technology will be so advanced that it will appear to us to be magic. And they won't be ugly tentacle things because they have to drive starships and they had to build civilizations. Stop making
not if they
fucking aliens look so stupid.
Well, not if they use their mental powers.
That's right.
It's like the aliens on The Simpsons.
Right. Giant brain things with tentacles.
Yeah, and that's why they take over species so that they can build their stuff for them.
I guess, but they had
China?
to at least
China
get to a point where they could drive some type of vehicle and then build things. I mean, tentacle monsters and the crazy way they make aliens look drive me nuts.
Hey, these aliens, they signed onto that new Obama's new trade deal, so hey, we're just trying to help out our American workers.
There you go. Yeah,
it's ultimately
no more
us.
of that cheap labor from outer space. It looks super cool though, and I don't know much more about it because I had never heard of it until you brought it up a minute ago. As focused in as I have been on this last week with the sci-fi show The Expanse, I was unaware of Childhood's End.
Well, and that's reading about the book on here. It was became Clarke's first successful novel when it was published, and a lot of people were regarded by both readers and critics as Clarke's best novel. I was like, I haven't read it, so I'll have to take a trip down to the library or see if it's on
library.
See if it's on Library Bay.
Go get your library card.
Yep, it's only
Alright.
217 pages, so it's not a.
We're there.
Oh yeah.
So
not a
let's
big one.
segue into The Expanse.
The Expanse, yes.
Expanse.
Yeah, that's they ran the pilot just recently, and the Expanse comes out on December 15th, right after the marathon miniseries of Childhood's End, and then that's going to roll into their next new sci-fi property, which looks, that first episode, it looks fantastic.
There's two things I hope, or a few things. I hope the money that was spent on that initial episode is indicative of the quality of the effects going forward
For the whole show, right?
for the whole show. And then it's not like, hey, we piled a bunch of money and effects into this and we're never going to match that again. Because here with a lot of these shows, you're always interior shots. It's always like they're filming inside of a dungeon because they can't show outside. They don't do a lot of, fly alongs with the spaceship because that costs money and somebody's got to do all those shots. But I felt like there was a great balance of footage from inside the spaceships and inside the space centers or whatever those things were called that are out on the asteroid belt,
Yeah,
with outside footage of the ships, the planetoids, the asteroids, all the stuff that they did inside that big cargo ship where the big arms are capturing the ice. I thought that was all cool.
the Belters,
The Belters.
asteroid Belters.
So I'm hoping that there's enough back and forth on that it just doesn't see like, oh, you get 10 seconds of, going forward, 10 seconds of spaceship shot as an establishing thing, and then the rest of the episode you're inside of a tin box.
Yeah. I really dig the world building they've done so far on it. It's based off of a novel series, and it's the novels are by James S.A. Corey. It's a pen name of two authors, Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank.
Their
and-
nom de plume.
Yep. And the first novel, Leviathan Wakes, was done in published in 2011. So it's a very current series, and it was nominated. It was nominated for the Hugo Award for Best Novel in 2012. So,
Awesome.
and they have Caliban's War in 2012, Abaddon's Gate in 2013, Cibola Burn 2014. So they're cranking these out between these two guys. Nemesis Games and Babylon's Ashes. It comes out next year, 2016. So they've got 6 books
Awesome.
in the series. So
Plenty of material to draw from. And
yeah,
I thought it was interesting that the day that they announced that was the day that I read a bunch of articles on the licensing and the companies that actually want to go do that,
yeah,
mine the asteroid belt and stuff. And then last week, Amazon test flew its big new rocket.
yeah.
They did a successful test on that.
Yeah, they flew it up to the edge of the edge of space and
Landed that motherfucker.
landed it back. And they I was listening to NPR the other day. They said that if it's successful for them, that saves a huge amount of money on launches because you're not having to lose a rocket every time.
Well,
So
and
it's multiple use. They could
Elon's
rocket stuff
thing
to my
does the
house.
same thing.
They could do some rocket stuff to my house.
No, the
Yeah.
rocket plane or whatever.
Well, earlier this year or last year, he has a system that the rocket goes up, it does its thing, and it lands back down. And I think the third one is maybe like a conglomerate or GE or something that still is having to jettison the rocket engine.
Yeah,
So there's 3 big players, but Amazon and Musk company has a rocket that just they land it, refuel it, and then that rocket takes off and does whatever they want.
rinse and repeat.
Yeah, once they have that, and you got a bunch of those going up and down and delivering stuff into space, you're talking about going from taking years to build a space station, decades, down to maybe a year or two. You've got a huge space station up there, and you're constant traffic flow back and forth. So
Yeah, at
super
least
interesting.
apparently there was a Twitter spat between Bezos and Musk this week because Musk was throwing a little shade on the successful launch. He said, "Well, ours can actually go out into space instead of to the edges because that's one of the current limitation on the Bezos rocket is that it can only go up to suborbital."
Right. But, and this is what the conversation we had at work this week was around. it takes these two guys, Musk and Bezos, who are willing to. What Musk has now got electric cars. Hey,
Building that huge battery factory.
Battery factories. We're going to give our technology away. We're going to take houses off the grid with batteries that you can charge up via solar. All this fairly. I guess some of the technologies are quote unquote tied together with the battery technology, but then hey, we're also going to start the real space stuff going up and down all the time, and then Bezos. I didn't even know that Amazon was in this mix until the article came out. And then
I'd heard about it, but I hadn't really followed it very much.
But it's just crazy. You just got these, I guess when we were going to call them visionaries, that are like, hey, we can fucking do anything.
Right.
And then all these other companies could have developed all this stuff at any time, and they just don't.
Right.
No, and you look at, well, maybe Apple will eventually, because Apple's looking at electric cars and self-driving cars. So
Sure.
there's people and Apple's sitting on a huge war chest of cash. So do something with that money.
Yeah, so Apple and Google are in the car business.
Alphabet. I still can't wrap my mind to remember that they're just a subset of a new company.
Yeah,
now.
I'm probably not going to ever refer to them on an ongoing basis as Alphabet.
Yeah,
It's got to be the dumbest name ever.
Every time somebody says, "Well, they have everything A to Z," like Amazon. That's what their logo is,
Right.
from A to Z. Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's a smile
Mhm.
as they take your money to outer space.
But
Hey,
how cool
they
is
can
that?
explore space with my money. Okay.
Yeah, so let's start mining in the asteroid
Start
belt.
building enterprise, folks.
I would like hopefully in my lifetime to be able to take a trip on that rocket, and what it is that it gets to the suborbital and then it shoots off that like a little capsule up, so you can have like 4 or 5 minutes up in space, and then it comes back down and like parachutes back down, so it doesn't have to reattach to the rocket and
Right. Try to
And
fly
land
the
and-
rocket just comes and lands on its own.
yeah. So that and
So it's like the ultimate skydiving.
yeah.
Space.
Powered by Red Bull.
Yeah. So that and mining the asteroid belt and doing all that stuff makes much more sense to me than, hey, let's go establish a colony on Mars.
I just don't
For
want to.
what?
I just really don't want them up there jacking around with asteroids, because you knock one off.
Right. Yeah.
It's like
Let's keep those in
goodbye,
the proper
dinosaur.
orbit.
Yeah, I know. You go out to the Oort cloud or something and start tapping around. It's like, oh, it's pinball. We messed up.
Let's not blow
Ruh-roh,
one.
Raggy.
This gonna be good.
Speaking of Mars, I went and saw The Martian the other day. Did you know?
I did. I went and saw it too.
That was
Yeah.
good.
What do you think?
I liked it.
I liked it. It was okay. It was a little, at times, too cheesy for me.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was fine. I had a good time watching it.
Yeah.
It was very well shot and pretty cool.
So how much have they spent trying to save Matt Damon?
A gazillion dollars.
Right.
This guy needs to stop getting lost.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's why they need to
All
start.
the way from World War II to
stranded or-
the
They need
future.
those trillions from those asteroids just to save his
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where he gets stranded next time.
Yeah. Leave him. Let him off there in Interstellar.
Mars,
on some
Mars.
planet.
Yeah, halfway across the universe.
Yeah. And he became a
In the middle of
crazy.
World War
I'm gonna strand, maroon my
You're
space
not
buddies here.
leaving me here.
Well, that's the Martians. That's a nice tie-in, because that's part of the Expanse, is that it's that all this development. There's colonies now on
Mhm.
Mars. There's colonies out in the asteroid belt and still on Earth, and they've gone apart long enough that they've developed this sort of like regional solar system grudge match going on. That's
well,
the
Mars
premise.
is a separate military power.
Yeah.
It's a totally separate thing. And then there's Earth, and then there's the asteroid belt. I love that part where, at the end, where they're like,
Yeah.
stealth technology. You know who has that?
Romulans and
And
Klingons.
that guy just goes, Mars.
Bird of prey decloaking on our bow. Yeah, that was the joke on Twitter that I said, and the Romulans.
And the robots.
They're in the neutral zone.
They're in the neutral zone.
Yeah, but I think that's cool. That it's like, oh shit, Mars got the tech.
I know. So I guess Mars is underpowered in terms of manpower, but has all the
Military
cool tech.
colonized.
Well, they need women. Mars needs women.
Of course.
course.
So. And brains.
Mars
Yeah,
needs.
Women.
and Tim Burton. Mars attacks.
Still, every about couple of months when that meme jumps back up, that somebody finds a new way to use it.
It's Dirty Ack and the boys.
It's a trap.
Put some D's and some Ack-Acks.
So, visually, I thought it looked good. I love the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was super impressed.
Who's
And
who's the cast?
who's
together?
who'da?
You got what I need.
What's his name from Walking Dead and The Wire's in there? Tyrese in The Walking Dead? Chad Coleman?
Oh yeah, good old Tyrese. What about T-Dog?
I don't think T-Dog's in there.
T-Dog.
So it's the star is obviously the guy from the Punisher series,
Yep.
Thomas Jane
as
Detective Miller. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, Chad Coleman.
Damn near killed her.
But even I thought the people that die in that episode, which it could have been thrown off in terms of casting,
Yeah,
I liked all those characters too.
I know. I think they've
Right.
done it. They've developed this really nicely.
Also, Art is in there from
Scally McScowler
from our
from
favorite
Orphan Black.
from our favorite show, Orphan Black. Yeah,
There we go. Yeah, I liked in the that they touched on that they have their own like pidgin language and stuff like that. Touched on like if you live on a world where it has lighter gravity, how it messes up your muscle and bone structure,
Right.
height, and then you you just put more G's on them to torture them.
Yeah. And there was a lot of stuff in there that was reminiscent of the guy did a bunch of audiobooks that I love, quarter share, half share, full share, captain share, and but it's audiobooks that the guy wrote, and then he is the star on the audiobooks, or the reader, I guess you should say. And it's all about
The
interstellar
narrator.
shipping and stuff. So they call them the heavy G's and the low G's, the real tall skinny people, and
Yeah,
the short squatty. They grew up on a heavy G planet.
yeah.
But yeah, those guys were like 7.5 feet tall or something like that. The
And
ones
weak.
that grew up in low G.
Weak as a kitten.
Yeah. You couldn't
Hanging
even,
them on hooks.
Yeah.
It's just, ooh, yeah.
and the person I'm guessing she's the United Earth States or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
She's their president or something, and she was in Sex and the City, and she's been in a bunch of stuff.
She came
Um,
off as a badass. I like it.
Let me see if I can figure out her name.
I should have had it pulled up already. I had it pulled up.
this lass is in there too. This Florence.
There's
Favre?
a lot of
Favre?
cuties in there. I don't think that's the right person I just clicked on.
She's grew up in France. Her family's from Bangkok, Thailand.
We are from France.
We have from France.
France.
We have from France. But yeah, so I like the cast. It was shot really well. Lots of interesting characters, and also what I think is going to be cool about this is the locations. There's the Earth locations, there's the asteroid belt locations, which that opening scene where it kind of flies through following that drone.
Yep.
Through all that stuff was really cool, as it showed you all the different layers, basically from. It reminded me of like the Titanic or whatever. We had the squashed in people at the bottom that were living in squalor at the bottom of the ship,
Steerage.
Third class.
all the way up to at the top where it was
First
just
class.
amazing, and everything's white and clean and
Where'd
open air and
Where'd you put the Irish? Steerage.
Yeah.
steerage.
The dirty Irish.
The
steerage.
reading more about the books. The series mainly follows Captain Jim Holden and the crew of the stolen Martian warship Rocinante as they stumble. Rocinante. As they stumble at the greatest conspiracy that mankind has ever known, going against greedy corporations, corrupt politicians, and warmongering admirals to get to the truth. That sounds like soup's on for me, baby. I like the
Yeah.
sound of that.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing the crew of that smaller ship. That's our main characters, right?
Yep, that's they're
In
on
combination with Detective Miller,
Yep.
and his sidekick Holden, who was a little bit annoying, but super cool.
Yeah, like I said, it comes out December 15th, and I am, man, sci-fi. Good job, good on them.
Drawn like a pot of neck bones.
Yes, it is.
Slated
And
for-
I'm gonna have to check these novels out.
So I watched it twice. You watched it twice.
I watched it twice. Yeah,
And I'll say on.
might watch it again tonight
10
after The Walking Dead.
supposed to be 10 episodes.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be super cool.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. You need to watch it. You can go watch it tonight.
Yeah.
It's live, like YouTube, on demand. I did YouTube. It's on the Sci-Fi.
Did you say on demand?
Sci-fi.
I did
He
YouTube.
downloaded
He
it
did
from
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah,
I did
just
YouTube both time I watched it in the theater. I want to say like every possible way
Any way they
that
can
you
get
can
it out
put
there.
it out there for free, they did it. So
Yeah,
definitely.
it says
check it out.
Amazon Prime here too.
Yeah, ham radio. I mean, they got every
Yeah.
they got every angle
You
covered.
can listen to it in Morse code, I think.
Keep on rolling.
Yeah.
Keep on rolling.
Rolling.
What's your handle? Any
Keep them
Come on
dogies
back.
rolling.
any smokies?
Eastbound and down.
Yeah.
So super cool, Ron. Watch it. You're gonna like it. You're gonna watch it and you're gonna
Yeah.
go, "This is my. Maybe I'm gonna finally get my BSG fix."
Well, and
Yeah.
it's like Ron said, it's 10 episodes, and they've got 5 currently published books and another one coming next year. So they got a ton of source material.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yepers.
That's what you got to have in a good shows.
All right.
Content.
We got. So here's what we got left. We got 12 Monkeys, Walking Dead, Dead Man in the High Castle, and
Did you have
Into the Badlands.
Into the Badlands on there?
Yep.
Okay.
So the 12 Monkeys, Walking Dead. Let's do 12 Monkeys first. Paul, you ready?
I am ready, man. My body is ready.
I gave my glean on the first 7 episodes last time. So what do you think, buddy?
I love it.
So is it just 7 episodes?
No, it's 13.
It's
13,
13 and which 12 Monkeys.
Lucky
Couldn't you get it
13.
done
I
in
know.
12 episodes? You messed it up. Messed it up. Can't watch. Never
You
again.
had one job.
Yeah, one job.
Had one job.
Yeah, blew it. I love it, and I love where they ended off. And man, talk about that because they're it's time travel. So
Right.
I was like,
You have to pay attention.
yeah, I was
man.
like, I got up and went to the kitchen and came back. Well, time to rewind a little bit. You cannot.
They switch years on you, and then there's all those different, like there's things going on in the past that are affecting the future, and all that stuff starts to converge. And you're like, oh my god, I got to pay attention to every second, or I'm gonna lose it.
And that's one of the dangers on this show of binge watching it. Man, you blink, you miss one little fact, and you're like, how many Coles are there?
So is this
Right.
So is this show a TV adaptation of the movie?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same
It's
character Cole.
Thematically, this almost exactly the same, but the
Yeah.
storyline obviously that has to be
Right, they got to stretch it out.
done.
for-
Well, it's not really stretching it out.
And it's sort of redone.
yeah,
It's a redo, and it's a
like
good
same
redo.
starting point, but then they have to take off from there. I mean,
right.
at the end of the day, maybe it tells the same story. You know what I mean? But it's
Well,
not
it's
like
gonna be
they're-
it's got to be different because redo because the story you're talking about 2-hour movie and dude dies
Verse
at the
13,
end,
verse
or
13.
the time is just flat
Yeah.
whatever circle.
Yeah. It stars Aaron Stanford as James Cole. He's the main one of the main.
And he was
he's the
my
main
only-
time. He's the main time.
He was my only thing. I really had to get settled into him. It was a little bit of a.
It
just-
took a little adjustment, but
Yeah.
once I got
He's
about
a
6
younger
ep-
dude though, isn't he?
he is a little bit younger dude.
He's
and,
like in mid-30s, something like that.
Yeah.
38. Yeah.
and Amanda Schul.
Mhm.
She's the Cassie
Mhm.
on it. And
About Circus
she's
Sound.
really good. And she is not hard to look at either.
No.
No,
She's
but she plays a
easy on
really.
the eyes.
She plays a really. I really like her role, and that she once he convinces her, she buys into it, and I love how
She
they
commits.
did. Yeah, I love how they did when he travels.
Mhm.
It's just shake, pop. That one, her ex-boyfriend, Cassie's ex-boyfriend, the government guy.
Right.
His eyes. The first time he made his eyes like his eyelids were touching his hairline. She said, "You get used to it."
Yeah.
And we don't have a Jeffrey Goins. We have a Jennifer Goins.
Mhm.
Brad Pitt's character is
Yeah.
is a woman.
And I
female.
like
and
her,
she
too.
Is, she is.
But is she crazy? Is she crazy?
She's batshit
She's bad
insane.
shit.
Okay, good.
She's totally out of her freaking mind.
Yeah.
Because that's my favorite. Almost my favorite thing about 12 Monkeys is Brad
Almost
Pitt's
everything
character.
she says is non sequitur. It's very difficult in terms of you have to adjust a little bit to have that character on screen a lot.
Yeah.
Where you're the non sequitur, they're sort of paying attention. They're sort of maybe giving you some clues about some things. So you
Mhm.
really have to pay attention to her part, or you could easily just gloss over it and miss out what she's got going on there. But I don't think what I had to verify was the actual same character, and it is. They've just flipped it to a female
Right.
lead, so
Yeah.
it's good, man.
It's like BSG, original BSG, making Starbuck.
Yeah, and it
Female.
works.
Yeah.
The actress's portrayal. I don't even know. Maybe you're supposed to say actor now. The
Right.
actor's
They're all
portrayal.
female,
They're all
females,
actors.
actors.
She is an actor. Is her
thespian.
performance now? Don't go there, Ron. Her performance is fantastic. Gives good to go. I didn't have any problems or any issues with her. The main character was a little bit of a bump, and I kind of had to get settled into that guy and what he was bringing to the table.
Yeah, but once I settled in on him,
Mhm.
he's good.
Yeah, no. Once you get past that initial rub.
Did you talk about the doctor, the German?
No, who is from Hell on Wheels.
Yeah.
He's the main. No, he's the preacher from Hell on Wheels.
No, I was talking about the not the guy who sprinkles the flowers, the German doctor who is sending Cole back in time.
Oh, the female.
Yeah.
The blonde-haired Katrina Jones, is it?
Yeah.
Dr. Jones.
Yeah,
whatever?
Dr. Jones. She's and
No time for love, Dr.
Dr.
Jones.
Jones.
I thought at first, the first time I saw her, I thought it was Kim Daniels, the mom in Fear the Walking Dead, just with makeup on, because
Yeah,
it's actually
she does look a little bit like. I was just looking at her picture
yeah,
right now.
and it sort of sounded like her, like if she was affecting a German accent. I was like, oh, is that Kim Daniels? I was like,
This is who we're
because
talking
they-
about.
yeah, because she's obviously she's in makeup to appear
Right.
older, which they did a really good job. I thought they sold it really well.
She's actually a German. Actually, is German. Strikingly beautiful German lead actress.
Well, then
She does good at a fake German accent. Then
yeah,
is
I
what
know. I was like,
Paul's trying to say.
sorry about
Yeah.
your fake
Yeah,
real
yeah,
German accent.
Real German accent.
Well, here's something fake.
Always helps to get the real ones.
It's like, well, back to Man in the High Castle. See, Kyle. But no,
Yeah.
she's really good. Man, that all that jumping around, that time travel, that is trippy. At first, they started off. It's sort of very okay. It's point A to point B, and then it's like, wait a second, he knows him from 1987, and Cole doesn't know that he goes back and visits this dude because it's a future Cole that's gone back to 1987, and this dude is telling him, and he's like, well, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. He's
So
like,
it's
and they'll run up against people and they're talking to them and they're like, "You don't recognize me, do you?" Like, "No, I've never met you before."
yeah.
You
And
have, just not yet.
yeah. And his friend Ramsey,
Mhm.
that he's the sort of the moral compass of the show,
Right.
is that he is his
God,
he.
what was he in?
I'm trying to remember. What is
Mm.
that actor? What is that actor's name? Is it?
Peter Dacuna?
Dakuna Matata.
What is,
A young guy, a kid.
No.
Kirk?
No. Oh, he's
You
been
said
in.
Ramsey.
I am racking my brain to try and remember what he's.
Kirk
been in.
Acevedo? He was on Oz, Band of Brothers, FBI agent Charlie Francis in Fringe. Is that the same guy?
I think it's Oz that he rings. 'Cause I watched it.
And Jose Ramsey in Science and 12 Monkeys. His best known films are The Thin Red Line, Dinner Rush, and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So he's been in quite a bit of stuff.
It's good.
Oh,
I'm looking
Kirk,
forward
yeah.
to watching the second half of the season, and I'm probably going to get on that in the next day or two and try to finish that up before next week's podcast. And
Second season starts in January. Right?
yeah. So I want to roll. I want to roll with that live.
Yeah. Yes,
and
I
have
do
that
too.
ongoing and be ready that when that comes back on to be fully on board and up to speed.
I'm
on 12
definitely
Monkeys.
And like I said, I caught up luckily on video on demand with FiOS, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, like I was telling Ron earlier, it
Quick
goes off of video on demand tomorrow on the
Wow.
30th. So,
12
but I'm
Monkeys
sure
does.
12 Monkeys, yeah, the
Mm.
first season does.
Oh,
But I'm sure.
Amazon.
Yep, it'll go to Amazon. So, is it
Says
current?
Says watch now on Amazon.
Oh,
Video.
there we go for $1.99 a pop, probably.
Let me double check that.
Yeah, they're sort of tricky on the
Discount,
video
double check it.
video on demand.
Double check.
Is that
Rogers!
I was looking in the free television, and I found it. And then it's sort of tricky. I think they try to trick people into paying for it, because then I went back, and then I went into another area of the free, and it was like $1.99 pop, and I was like, oh no. And then, but I found it for free. You just have to make sure you go into the right area, and they make it a little bit.
Well, I could see that you would want the option, like if I wanted to buy it and keep it forever, that should be available to me.
Yes, yeah, but they didn't make it very obvious. Like if you want to just
They were trying to
leech off the corporation, like I like to do.
Nobody tricks the bearded wonder.
No,
They should know better.
Yep.
You put them on ad blocker.
I will.
So I'm digging it. I'm glad I had, because I had debated, and then if I wouldn't have started watching it if I wasn't sick week before last, but I got sick, so then I was like, I'm gonna check this out.
Yeah. Well, and like
And
I
I'm
said,
glad I did.
I had given myself the assignment of watching Man in the High Castle, and I was going to bounce. Like I said, I was going to bounce between 12 Monkeys and High Castle, and High Castle. That'll be this week because man, I just got sucked in. I just watched them over episode after episode, so.
And powered through it. And I rewatched most of Heroes with family over the course of the holidays. Caught my sister up with on the Blacklist.
Oh right.
So an enormous amount of my time that would have been on new material over the holiday week was spent rewatching stuff with family.
And I was able to find Heroes Reborn on video on demand, so I will be able to catch up on that as well.
Awesome.
But I got so many shows now. It's like Man in the High Castle, Heroes Reborn. I still need to finish off season 2 of The Blacklist and catch video demand of season 3. And then, man, we got all this new stuff coming. Sci-fi, messing up my mix.
No, I thought December would be a huge catch-up month, and now sci-fi. Well, it'll only be like a couple episodes pop. It's not like those are dropping seasons, so that will be a little bit more in manageable process. And really, Jessica Jones is like what started me off. I didn't realize that was going to come out. Got tripped up watching that, and powered through those 13 hours of content, and they are solid hour episodes. So
as Brian and Tim Cook said, we're in the golden age of television. Yeah, and this is like the best problem to have, to find ourselves like, man, there's so many great shows, and that's refreshing for once, because man, back in the day, it's like, what are you gonna watch? Well, I guess we'll watch Seinfeld. Wacky old Kramer.
You don't have to watch The Voice or Amazing Race or whatever horrible reality television is out there.
Bachelors in Paradise.
If you don't want to.
That's right. No, there are plenty of options, especially if you have a
that should be
fantasy or sci-fi bent.
Our other podcast we'll launch will be all nothing but reality TV. I could kill myself in a week.
No.
It'd be very short. It'd be 5 minutes. A show I did not think to mention, Shannara.
Yeah, so I put that on, and it starts in January or something.
So we can trail up to that, but you know, based off of the
what a
best-selling
weird
books.
place for that to be housed
On MTV,
yes.
right? Well, maybe they're finding that shows like Catfish are not quite paying the bills, and
16
Jersey
pregnant's not a moneymaker for them.
Jersey and pregnant, Jersey Shore. Oh, Snooki from the Jersey Shore. Her and her husband have this, maybe HGTV or something like that. She's going to be doing a show where she's buying and flipping houses. Her and her husband.
That's something really? I can put that right on top of the list of things not to watch.
Yeah. Right up there by The Voice.
So the Shannara Chronicles. So I've read most of those books back in the day. I mean, God, those came out started in the early 80s, I think.
Mid 70s.
Yeah.
76, I think.
Wow.
The Elfstones of Shannara was published, I think.
Yeah, so I think I read those in like 82, 83, 84, somewhere in there. So I don't remember much about them.
Flick.
However, I'm hoping this doesn't end up being just really dumb. And there is a trailer.
Yeah.
So I think there's a 1-minute trailer we'll watch. I'll pop it as soon as we end today's podcast just to see what it's like. And I'm hoping it's not really, really cheesy and dumb.
Yeah.
But interesting.
Yeah, but MTV is like, that is,
it's weird.
I don't even know what
somebody developed it, did a pilot, and then no one else bought it, or MTV outbid it because they thought it would be their wheelhouse.
What even runs on MTV? It's got to been years since I even.
Yeah, me
24 hours of shit, I would imagine.
I flip through it. Sometimes I'm flipping channels. Especially when I'm working out, I'll flip through there, and it's like every time I go past it, there's always some crap on there. I'm like, have no interest at all in, so I just keep on going and then on down. And it's usually let's stop on like Palladia where they're showing some concert or something. I'll watch.
Yeah.
That's the only music channel I think is worth a darn out there.
I
Right?
don't watch any.
Access TV does a lot of good concerts and stuff. They had do that. They covered that Firefly concert that was just recent, and a lot of the some pretty big concerts.
Cool.
Happen on there.
All right. So, Walking Dead. We have Walking Dead and Into the Badlands.
Okay. Let's do Into the Badlands first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Ron, you are up to speed.
Yep.
You're up to speed.
Two
oh my
episodes.
gosh! Here, the first one we're all synced up on.
Two episodes in.
What do you think of episode 2?
It's it's getting more developing. I think it still needs. I think it's visually it's really stunning.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that, and the fight stuff is
For me, it's visually it's the opposite of Man in the High Castle.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the post-apocalyptic world never looked really so colorful and good, didn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, I mean that's a perfect point. It is still post-apocalyptic craziness,
Right.
but they have opted then to make it visually stunning, and then that's obviously the style that they're going for.
Where's that saturate button? Wink.
Yeah, it is super saturated.
Yeah.
But I loved that opening fight scene inside the bar.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. Where the widow comes out and just starts kicking ass, and her kid,
Her daughter,
yeah, cool character. I thought.
Mhm.
Very cool character. Has some serious
Some
pet
chops herself. Yeah.
some chops and some serious
Takes
pet
down that one dude of the three there. Like,
Yeah,
like
don't bet against the little girl. Don't do it.
She's got some serious pet eyebrow monsters going.
yeah,
too.
she does.
She has some.
Caterpillars up there.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see the Baron fight, but we
yet.
did.
It's coming.
It's coming in this next episode.
We did get to see him walk into a house with a sword and come out with a sword. And
Covered in
absolutely,
blood.
it's like, man, what did you do? Bathe in it? Calm down, Baron.
Homie does not play apparently, nor
Yeah.
is he very clean cut. So I didn't show the people, but it feels like he must have mangled them beyond belief.
Right. Just a lot.
The way he was covered in blood.
Yeah.
I think he tried to open up some major arteries and just bathe in it. Like, it's like I need to soak in their essence.
He took somebody else's jugular out or something there. The spray all over him.
And he had ordered Sonny, his main hitman,
His main
Clipper,
Right.
to kill him, and he said no.
I
And
can't
I was
do
like,
Dude, this is my girlfriend's parents. I can't go in there and murder him.
yeah, I thought that was interesting. That the Baron is okay. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
You disobeyed me once. I'll let it slide. It's like I think probably because Sonny kick your ass.
Right. Yeah.
But Woody, I mean, if you kick the Baron's ass, and then they need to have the entire army after him. So that'd be interesting to see how they play that power out.
Well,
going
apparently
forward.
Sonny doesn't have a problem with killing several dozen people at once.
Right.
It's like, man, can't somebody? No, of course they don't have guns. It's like, do they have arrows? Can
I know.
shoot
And
them?
so the second fight, the first fight, I thought was visually really cool inside the bar. Everything they did, the camera techniques and placement and all that stuff was just really cool. It was very pretty. I couldn't. And then the second fight was very long and drawn out, but they used every spare scrap of space inside that place in, I thought, in some fairly cool ways. That from the floor where they start to the scaffolding to the big circular look like an airway or something. How they were running around and stuff in there, and
I like how I was impressed with the use of space, and not only it's the depth, the side to side, up and down. They used every axis.
yeah, and then they move out onto those planks.
Oh, the scaffolding in the warehouse there?
Yeah, and then all that stuff is going on there. There's like 20 people flying around, and super cool, man. And I guess that's going to be every episode's 2 fights. Like an opening fight and then a closing fight.
Well, the very first episode was the one where he goes up on the nomads and
that was the opening fight.
Yeah,
and then the one in the rain was the closing fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think somebody's going to eventually get a memo not to mess with Sonny.
Where he finds the kid. The first one is where he goes out there with the nomads and finds the kid in the trunk. The kid with the powers.
I know, this man. His eyes go dark. And
Yeah, he sees his blood, he freaks out, and goes all super warrior on.
It'd be weird. It'd be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, I
how
know.
does that play in everything? Because everything else is pretty much straight away kung fu.
Well, he
And
has
then
to.
there's this weird mystical thing going on with this kid.
Well, and this kid, he has this emblem from this one house, and he has.
What do they call it? Atreides or something like
Yeah,
that? The city.
it's like a city on the outside the
Yeah,
Badlands.
in the neutral zone.
Yeah, in the neutral zone.
Who's got Atreides? Mars does. So it's yeah.
House,
I thought
House
that was,
Atreides.
I thought that was interesting that the widow's daughter.
That was Blade, wasn't it? House of Trade.
No, that's Dune.
That's right, Dune. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting
House,
that
House
House
Harkonnen.
the widow's daughter is helping that young man. She her mom told her to hurt him so
She's
they
not
could
totally
see the powers.
corrupted yet.
I'm surprised the widow sort of fell for it, but I guess if she wasn't expecting her daughter to betray her.
Right. I think she feels like her daughter's going to be squared away and do what she's told. And
She looked suspicious though. She's like, she looked. The widow looked after that. She fake cut her hand and then
yeah.
cut me, but don't really cut me.
So I guess all of our powerful people are going to be really badassery at kung fu and stuff. So it's going to be cool, man. I'm really digging the mix. And I went back and rewatched both of those episodes because caught the family up on that TV show while they were here. And so I didn't have to pay so much attention to the story. And it may be interesting for you, Paul, if you went back and watched it. But there is so much going on visually in every one of those shots, and how the shots build and interplay, and everything goes into just the lighting, the colors used in the different scenes and stuff is all very indicative of what's going on. It was that's all I did the second go around watching that back was just pay attention to just visuals.
Yeah.
And really not looked at any of the characters and what's going on in the camera and all the color techniques that are used and focus. And there's a lot of lighting going on in that show. So they're also using either within the red cameras or post. There's a lot of post processing and unfocusing things and kind of a little bit of Instagramming going on in terms of things being in muted and unfocused as the camera's moving around. But it was super interesting to watch it that second go around where I was just looking at the visuals and the camera shots and the angles that they set up and everything. And it was quite entertaining to do so.
Have you? That made me think about going back and rewatching those, which I'd love to go back and analyze that. Have you all ever heard of this Vimeo on YouTube series? This guy, it's called Every Frame a Painting, and he goes
Yeah.
and he goes in and breaks down famous scenes and movies about cinematography and storytelling.
Oh yeah.
I think he does
color
a
and-
one on Drive that's really interesting.
He does one on all the different
Breaks down the 4 quadrants.
cinematography. Yeah, of the-
It'd be cool to see if he does something like that on TV shows.
yeah. I would love for him. It is about it's about on his channel on YouTube. It says, "I like movies. I don't take requests." So he sort of just picks what
he wants to do.
What he
Yeah,
I would love to not request him to do to do this because it's dedicated to the analysis of film form, pictures and sound all the way, baby.
Yeah, and like he breaks down stuff like on here, Akira Kurosawa on composing movement. So everything is all the way back to Buster Keaton, to Bugs Bunny, to
the Buster Keaton one. Is one of his newest posts.
1 week ago.
He joined on April 16th, 2014. He has nearly 400,000 subscribers and over 15 million views.
Yeah, and he's only got 20-ish.
Yeah.
Does a thing on Snowpiercer, but it was super surprised. Obviously, this guy's not only gone to school, is trained, but he's in the industry because of all of the way, everything, how he breaks down the shots within the video that he does.
Yeah.
It's all really, really well done.
Yeah, there's one. It was a Orson Welles movie called F is for Fake from 1973. How to structure a video essay. He does. It's about 4.5 minutes. If you look at his list of videos, it's really good. I watched that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and then the Drive, the one he does on Drive, the quadrant system, and how consistently that director used the quadrant system to move your eye. So if you go back, if you have time and watch those first 1 or 2 episodes, with that in mind, just looking at the visual piece, it's really, really well done.
Yeah, and something if not only you guys but anybody who checks us out, when you're watching fast-paced action, like fast cuts and stuff like that, where it's just sort of painting with motion, and turn off the sound and watch it. It's really interesting what you can get out of just the pure movement, the movement of color, and the fast cuts and how they bridge. You can get a lot out of when you turn the sound off, how they're bridging cut to cut to cut to cut,
right,
to give the feel.
Does
Which
that
I
work
think-
with a Michael Bay film though? Where there's
I hope
1,800
not.
million
I hope not.
cuts.
But with that in
Jeez.
mind, how you're talking about, and that's where what I was talking about, how the Bastard Executioner is so disjointed visually. You know how if it's well thought out and well planned out, that whole how shots link up, you know, and how that move and how they move you through a scene, with the uses of all the different angles and the shots and the motion of the camera, the motion of the characters, blah blah blah. How well done that's done with Into the Badlands. It is this far end of the spectrum with the Bastard Executioner, because that's where I would kept going. I'm like, why did they go there? That doesn't make any sense. How that these shots seem interconnected, and it feels like the whole thing is jump cutting. You know what I mean? Where it's just like every cut was like a weirdly bizarre menagerie of things that are there almost on purpose to bump you. But I don't think it was on purpose.
Well, and
they
that's
canceled that show, by the way. You weren't here last week.
yeah,
What?
Bastard Executioner.
Oh.
Yeah.
They canceled it one season in.
Yeah.
It was too expensive and it sucked.
Yeah. Oh, obviously.
Well, there's I say sucked. I haven't watched any of it, so I can't
Yeah.
say that. I mean,
we have to go. We have to trust Brian's opinion.
Well, you know, we know his taste. There's a. I see at some of these Twitter groups. All right, we're gonna have to do the Heineken remover.
Yeah,
on
we're
you.
gonna.
Heimlich maneuver.
Do we need to get out the
Slowly
defibrillator?
Man,
Get
those-
the AED
those are-
out.
the so I haven't checked out, but there's some Twitter groups that they really follow Bastard Edges, and they absolutely love that show, and they're
Really?
heartbroken
for a one season show already, really?
Yeah, it's like, but I was like, well, I believe what Brian says. We know his taste by now is, and
Yeah.
if it got canceled because it went from, we was talking last week, it went from its debut episode, I think 1.8 million viewers down to 800,000.
Yeah, so lost half his audience.
Over half.
Over it.
So yeah, it wasn't doing good. And you know, we was talking about how much we have you watched any of Viking on the History Channel?
No.
Vikings is really good. That's another show I keep. There's so many shows I need to catch up on.
And it's coming back here pretty quick.
Yeah, because
Like season 5 or whatever it is.
season 4,
for
season
Vikings.
3's available now, and I wanted to catch up on it, but there's Sci-Fi. Fuck me up. Damn you, Sci-Fi. I love you, Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
I think it rolled. The next season is in March.
Yeah, so I need to get caught up on season 3. I want to actually go back and rewatch seasons 1 and 2 because it's really that's a good show.
Vikings.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I
It's
want
really-
to try it out.
Yeah, I
And
think
do
Ginger.
season-
I
go
think
back to
Ginger.
season 1.
I think
Sure
she'd
would.
like it. It's got hot Viking dudes. I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah.
I think she would like, and everything that Vikings did well, Bastard Executioner did not.
Yeah.
It's like the anti-Vikings.
Visually, storytelling, actors,
Everything.
so bad.
It's interesting, and they spent so much because Sutter had said he had sat down with the head of the whatever channel it was,
FX.
head of programming of I think it was head of programming, and they had a very candid discussion about it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They come to fisticuffs.
well, he said, he said,
I'm sure verbally that Ed Sutter is very confrontational.
yeah, man, any man who's willing to bite his tongue off. He said it's about money. He said it wasn't they couldn't justify the expense. You know, they shot it all overseas in the UK.
Yeah, not for 800,000 viewers.
Yeah, no, they can't justify that. And it's he's an adult. He knows how the things work. So yeah, I am looking forward to tonight's episode of Into the Badlands.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah, I definitely would. I'm going to take what Brian was saying. I think he's dying out there. You need to go check.
Yeah. We may be calling the ambulance here in a minute for Brian because
He's
he's out there coughing up a lung.
I got the black lung, Poppy. It turned into Zoolander all of a sudden in here. You all right?
Zoolander 2, by the way, is coming out.
Yeah, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, that's what they should call it.
They should call it. If they,
Zoolander 2,
Electric Boogaloo. Spraying. Who's going to be spraying gasoline all over themselves than this one?
But it was had the most views ever of a comedy trailer online. Did you see that tweet yesterday?
Nuh-uh.
So it's like,
What, Bastard Executioner?
no, Zoolander 2.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's getting a sequel. I don't know. Did it do a lot of money the first
It
time?
was
It's kind of become a cult comedy film.
It's a cult comedy.
Yeah.
And how many years back was the original Zoolander? That's got to
At
be
least
10 plus.
At least 10, yeah, for sure.
I wonder if how well his Blue Steel has aged.
Well, if you watch the trailer, it's all about Blue Steel and his other looks and how everybody's imitating Blue
2001,
Steel.
15 years between it. So 2001 to 2016 is going to be the
Yep.
difference there.
He's
15.
a little bit down on his luck.
It seems like
This
that's
one.
sort of the magic number. 15 or 20 years is the magic. Oh, time for a sequel or a remake. It seems like, okay, we've gotten one generation out. Time for whatever's the generation that is going to replace the millennials.
What is the next generation going to be called?
I don't know. I don't know if it has a name yet or not.
Depends on where you're starting that generation.
Nobody talks about Generation X anymore.
2000 or the aughts babies maybe.
Where's the love?
I
for
mean,
Gen X?
technically, you're a baby boomer
Yes,
because
yeah.
me and Brian are just right on the cusp of Generation X.
Baby.
I think that ended in 69 or 70.
Yeah, 69, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a
I'm a baby boomer.
You're a baby.
The end of the baby boomers.
You're the very tail.
I'm the baby of the baby boomers.
Yep. Yeah. Retirement. Start thinking about it.
I'm like Rob Zombie.
1965. Suddenly, this turns into a 401k show. Let's talk about your nest egg.
Right.
Government.
Remember asset allocation.
Diversification.
Yeah. So, is this the mid-season break for Into the Badlands?
No, they got an episode on tonight.
Yeah, no, it
this-
rolls on. 'cause
Are they going
started-
to retime it to take the Walking Dead? Please don't tell me they're going to fill it with Fear of the Walking Dead.
No.
No.
It's gonna-
Everybody's no.
The seasons overlap so that they could build a big audience for it going into the quote unquote holiday hiatus.
Yeah.
But it's my understanding is it keeps rolling until it's done.
Okay, and it's going to maintain the same time slot.
Has AMC been advertising anything new? I don't think so because they advertised the hell out of Into the Badlands during the early days of early shows in this season of Walking Dead.
Yeah, they tied that to the hip of the Walking Dead.
Yeah, they
so
really did use the power of that to leverage that show.
I could have swore I saw. I'll have to take a look on AMC. I think they have some stuff coming up next year. I can't remember what it is. There's some new. They have some new stuff coming up.
Yeah,
I'll have to take a look.
check AMC.com.
Yeah, see what's coming up. See if I can do this without going into dead air. We all sitting here.
Oh, by the way, 12 Monkeys. You can watch it on the Sci-Fi app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Stream it
there's
on
literally any way you could think that you could watch a video or anything. It's available on.
There's all the episodes
Yep.
right there. Nice little graphical GUI. Very nice interface that Sci-Fi app has.
Well, hopefully it's
12 Monkeys.
yeah. Hopefully it's better than Amazon Prime as far as the usability. Upcoming new TV shows on AMC. This is off of TVWeb.com. I Fear the Walking Dead. No.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
When is that scheduled to return? I'll take that month off
I
from
think
watching
like
TV.
spring or summer.
Let me see.
I imagine.
Have you also checked? I mentioned before. Checked out *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Oh, I've seen the first season. It's awesome.
It's an awesome show. The second season is.
When did you watch it?
What is Halt and
I
Catch
watched
Fire?
it. I watched it like a couple of months ago.
What is Halt and Catch Fire?
It's a sort of like the it's sort of like riffing on the birth of personal computers, and it's a lot of it's based here in Dallas area.
Yeah, filmed here. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's
the
based
story.
on that whole little mini tech thing that came up with Texas Instruments. And
TI.
now the company
Early
it focuses
TI
in on is a totally fictitious company, but it's Texas Instruments and I can't remember all that. There was 5 or 6 huge companies that were all in Irving that had that tech corridor that were there for a while.
It sort of struck me as because the lead characters a very sort of a Steve Jobs type of personality.
Yeah.
That he's the salesman, and trying to bring this greatness. And it's got the hacker, female hacker. She's on. I thought she was
She's in The Martian.
in The Martian. Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. And she's
I
playing
sat there halfway through
playing-
The Martian before. It's like, that's where I know from
And
*Halt
she's-
and Catch Fire*.
Yeah, and so she's typecast as a hacker type of computer hacker type of character. I don't see when Badland or Fear the Walking Dead comes back. I suppose I could look.
I'd heard spring.
I'm okay if it's not for a
spring
while.
20
Over on the side,
2016.
it says it has a little Facebook like thing. Do you like Fear the Walking Dead? 2 people like this.
Two. Wow.
Woo, hold on. Kurt Sutter would like those numbers.
All right, so let's transition. We're right at an hour, so let's transition over to Walking Dead.
TWC.
Okay. Yeah.
TWD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TWC.
The Walking Dead.
So what?
Walkers.
So tonight is the mid-season finale.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got to back up with the episode we just all watched this past week.
I clear.
Hello, Glenn. Glenn's back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's alive.
Glenn's back.
Crawled under the dumpster. Did we
I-
not call that?
Yeah, we.
Paul called it. Paul
yeah.
called it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's
Underneath
like
that
you could.
dumpster.
I mean, that one still frame I found, you could you could park a Mack truck, a Ferrari underneath there,
Yep.
and it didn't bother. I think Brian was more displeased about how they wormed their way out of that than I was. I like his character. And
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah. Well, he's a
and-
fan favorite. He's
yeah.
he's really kind of. That's why some people were bummed the hell out. Did you see the? You guys, I don't know how you watch. You probably did. Brian may not have, depending on how he watches Into the Badlands. But they had a little Stephen Ewan message during Into the Badlands.
yeah,
That
Thank you.
said, "Hey, thanks for everybody, fans of The Walking Dead. Thanks for your support and thanks for all your concern," or something like that. And he said it's good to be back. And
Yeah. No,
I saw that because I watched Into the Badlands episode 2 before I watched this week's. So I was like, oh yeah, Glenn's back.
oh, they caught you.
Yeah, but I mean, it was the first when then you watch this week's episode, past week's
So
episode.
I
It was the first
I
thing.
tried to watch that Talking Dead after, and it's such a love fest. It's
Oh,
very
yeah.
difficult for me to watch the whole thing and take it seriously. It
Oh,
really
yeah,
is
it's-
like just there. It's like an hour of them, sitting around praising each other, which I get, but they're really not just. It's almost like who can show
there's
who's a
no-
bigger fan of who.
There's
and
no critique.
There's no critique. It literally just is.
Oh yeah, there's nothing negative on that show.
Well, I mean, a critique doesn't have to be negative,
yeah.
but what they are is just it's fanboy of fanboy shows. I think I'm kind of out on that now.
Yeah, I like to watch it because I do like the recaps of who all got killed and all the nasty
in
walkers.
memoriams.
That,
Yeah.
That's kind of the funny bits are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the people talking about, you know what? You're the best, man. No, you're the best, man.
Hey, what? Can you
Nope.
slide down the couch a little bit? I can
Yeah.
pat you on the back.
Gosh,
a little bit.
we're all the best if you're thinking about it. Nobody's more best than anybody else in here. We're just all the best.
Everybody sitting on this couch is aces in my book.
yeah, you guys are aces.
Yeah, the I can take that show or leave it. I like Chris Hardwick's enthusiasm,
Mhm.
and
he's a great host.
Yeah, and his if anybody's never seen his Nerdist website, he's got a little empire he's built.
Yeah, that
good for
Nerdist
him.
site-
I mean, good for him.
I like the Nerdist feed on my Facebook because it pops up pretty cool stuff every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have that on Twitter and all that stuff. Goes back
Nerdist.
and forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah. Now,
So the episode.
the episode I had a because Father Gabriel's still Father Gabriel.
I loved where he's putting out the flyers and Rick walks by and just takes him down, carries him off.
Yeah.
And then Coral is like, Dad.
Yeah, somebody was talking on the Reddit. They do a recap on Reddit on the Walking Dead subreddit, and so they was talking about that. Man, he didn't say Father Gabriel didn't say anything, and Rick didn't say anything. He just walked up, started reading. He's like, "Man, you got to run everything past me first. Is that we're meeting at the solar panels?" It's like,
There's gonna be no prayer meeting tonight.
This is. I've already scheduled the machete training at the solar panels. You got to run things past me, Gabriel. And he goes back and puts them up. One of the Twitter commenters, Milani Makanai, she's a Hawaiian. She does Hawaiian music and stuff like that. She loves The Walking Dead. I thought this was I don't know if this has really happened, but I thought it was an interesting idea. She had posted on Twitter, I think Gabriel brought that steeple down on the wall. Please no more bites. Gabriel can go though. And I was thinking, that's like, I hadn't thought of that angle. Is that maybe not if Father Gabriel did, but man, he's got to be mad at Rick. And he showed that he's got a little bit of crazy in him. But there's a lot of loose cannons. You got Ron in there.
Yeah,
not our Ron.
little Ron. Yeah.
Little Ron. Spencer.
Yeah.
Spencer for hire.
Pissed off Ron. Yeah.
So there's enough.
Teen angst.
I thought that was an interesting idea. I think it's just the damage to it that brought it down.
Yeah.
But what if it was sabotage? That'd be awesome. Another little twist.
Yeah, I mean, they kept showing from the whole episode how this gap and that crack and the pressure on that building. But then, all right, you build all that badass retaining wall, but then you leave buildings you don't go around buildings. You leave a building half in and half out.
Well, I've got
you don't take something like that could cause a problem down.
Yeah. My biggest problem is that they went on and on about that Deanna's husband was an engineer and they built this wall. They put all the support posts on the outside of the wall.
I noticed
it's like,
that, yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
I have a vehicle. I'm just going to drive through all these, like, knock them down like bowling pins, and then here we are. It's like,
walls
how
fall
about
down.
how about building them on
your
the
fortifications
inside?
should be on the inside of the wall.
And I still don't understand
Got
that
to
at all.
question his engineering degree now.
Yeah, it's like, man, where'd you get that? University of Phoenix? Well, I had some real world experience that applied. I only had to take about 3 credit hours.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I went to not to DeVry, but to the University of Phoenix engineering program.
Well, it'd been like, well, my wife didn't like the aesthetics of the supports being on the inside, so we had to make them on the outside.
People kept tripping on them, and it was really a hazard for
it was just not aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it was OSHA violations all over the place.
Yeah, it's. I thought that was interesting. That I really wonder about the wisdom of Rick letting that Ron kid have a gun, even though it wasn't. He didn't let him have bullets. Just carried around a while, and then that Ron kid went in and grabbed some bullets. And there was some chatter on the Reddit's Walking Dead subreddit is that it's like, well, this kid's never fired a gun himself at all.
Yeah.
Did he even grab the right type of bullets?
Right. Yeah.
It's like he's going.
But it was stalking Carl there at the end.
Yeah. So is he stalking Carl, or is he following Carl to get to Rick? What's his motivation?
I will say that the whole training of Ron and the gun and Coral being like, because Rick would say, all right, you got to hold it like this and make sure that you're not nervous. And then Coral would go, yeah, man, make sure you're not nervous, man.
Yeah, he was, man, talk about egging him.
I know everything. He just repeated in some annoying fucking fashion.
Yeah. I know how to shoot a gun. You don't.
Yeah.
You're going to be nervous.
Well,
you got to be nervous.
You can't be cool like me and my dad. I have a dad that's alive.
Yeah. So
Remember?
it's just like, wow, this is seen as annoying me. Coral is driving me crazy.
Yeah, if he gets shot, then
maybe Ron should shoot him.
Well, maybe you should shut your fucking mouth
and
there,
then
Coral.
when you're standing over Coral's dead body, you should just talk annoyingly.
Well,
at him.
in the comic book, I'm not going to spoil anything, but something happens. Something happens to Carl, and they'll be interested to see if that transpires tonight, because they weave in and out of the comic
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
storyline. So we'll
see.
see what happens.
They got a major breakthrough in the wall, major breach. They got zips in
Yeah.
the wire.
Yeah, yeah. We're
They're
being
gonna have
overrun
to
by
call in
V.
some artillery
VC.
danger close, man.
Brown's coming down right. It's like it's like, hey, the green balloons or the orange balloons. Glenn's it's like
man.
Oh hell!
pregnant Maggie got all happy, and then they're close, but there's about a billion zombies between them.
Yeah.
They got a lot of stuff to kill in this episode.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be the shits if Glenn ends up dying or Maggie ends up dying after all that crap with all that crap with the everybody
That would make
Glenn.
me a little bit happy for how annoyed I am at the whole "is Glenn dead or not" thing. If he came back for one episode and then was immediately killed.
So yeah, that'd be interesting if something happens. I'm still not really 100% happy with how they handled all the press after that whole Glenn thing. Is that everybody was up in arms, and Scott Gimple, the showrunner, was on The Talking Dead right after. Oh, calm down, everybody! It's like just let it build. You did this on purpose,
right? Yeah, you did it. You chose to do it.
It's like
that
they
way.
got scared and they tried to walk it back a little bit. It's like,
Well, I
nothing's
think
set in
though,
stone.
with the characters that they have left now, if you think of how many characters have died, but of the old school characters, man, in terms of the show and fan disruption and fan dislike, like the purpose of this show is nobody survives forever, right? They're gonna have a hard time pulling the trigger on major character deaths.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a few that are unkillable. You can't kill Rick. You can't kill Daryl. You can't kill.
If Daryl dies, we riot.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, there's female. You'll lose a huge amount of the female fan base if you kill off Daryl.
And we talked about that a few podcasts ago. Is that there was an interview recently with Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead comic. He said nobody's untouchable. Only person in his mind that he sort of thinks is in his mind is untouchable is Carol. He said, we've invested so much into her arc. He said to me, right now she's the only unkillable one. That means leaves Daryl on the table. He's on the chop. He could be on the chopping block.
Well, I mean, what Kirkman thinks versus what the show people want to do is two different things. So, I mean, the Rick, Daryl, Carol, maybe Glenn and Maggie. Carl, I think at this point is somewhat expendable to a degree, although he's close in that borderline on that range. And then your new characters. Abraham's a very likable character. Will he be around for a while? I think. Of course, I think Father Gabriel is dead in this. Maybe in this coming episode tonight.
As poor as his survival skills are, is like, how is he still alive?
And frickin' Eugene is what use is that dude?
I know.
He is
other than sporting a nice mullet,
of no use, right. And there is not even a love triangle angle anymore with him and
He
Tara,
may
because
end up-
Tara is
He's
lesbian.
so bad, he may end up getting somebody killed, like to save him.
Exactly, yeah. Like what's her name? The lesbian
Tara.
tank top wearing Tara, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rosalie, Abraham's now wanting to get with Sasha, so he's yet to tell her that he wants to be with that. So.
He is multi-ethnic.
Yeah. One of the funny things I read about that whole thing is that they were like, somebody just made the comment of like, wow, that looked like a one-way street.
yeah.
She was not reciprocating or picking up what he's putting down.
Yeah, he's setting things down. It's just staying down. There ain't no picking up, like Brian said. Yeah, I'm really excited for tonight's episode because I love it when shit goes insane.
Yeah,
I love
hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and those zombies. I mean, you're stuffing them in a little sardine can, so that's going to be interesting. And Glenn, the angle of Glenn being on the outside and him rolling with crazy loose cannon Enid, who's like, "Oh, I got to survive. See y'all later."
She's kind of irritating me.
And then we still have, that wolf that in lockup.
the dude that's been injured and
and Morgan's got in lockup, and Carol found out about it. So I'm like, I'm ready to see if
who
Morgan,
you got in that cage in there.
See if Carol feeds him some of those special cyanide cookies. He can never tell anyone.
Hey, dude, just look at these flowers here.
Yeah, pop, pop. So there's a lot of for a mid-season finale. There's a lot of balls up in the air for tonight's show.
Okay, my question is
Paul
why
loves
do
it
the
when
little
there's a lot of balls up in the air.
why do the
Just
sit down
slide
with Morgan, the three of them, Carol, Rick, and Michonne with Morgan, and then go right into this hell's breaking loose,
Well,
walls
I think
down?
that's what's going to save Morgan from getting Ixnay or Carol fucking
put a bullet in his
putting
head.
something sharp in his throat.
I'm telling you, it's because Carol don't put up with shit.
No.
But remember how
She has zero tolerance.
I did like that was immediate. They figured it out, right? And they're sitting Morgan down rather than dragging it out. Because I think I talked a little bit ad nauseum around how it would be interesting to see how they handle this on the other side when they find out. I do
Yeah.
think that's super important, like for all these main characters
you mentioned that before.
going forward. And I do think that at some point they have to. And we talked a little bit last podcast around how it's a little bit of a dead drum beat for me now about how do the right thing, quote unquote right thing, always has unintended negative consequences, right? Where you show your humanity like Daryl did in helping them out, like Morgan did in letting the wolves go. It always backfires, right?
Right.
That survival dictates you do X, your humanity dictates you do Y. Y causes problems with X in future survival, right? So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this, and especially since Rick seems a little bit more leeway-ish, but Carol's cut and dry, man.
right. Yeah.
I think that would be interesting if somehow they figured out a way to twist it around, and by Morgan keeping that guy, it somehow ends up being useful. Not the guy intentionally helping them, but for whatever transpires,
Get some information out of him or something.
or it fortuitously works out in their favor. That it's a good thing we had
that would be
dickhead
an-
anyway.
that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
If Morgan killing this guy would have prohibited something positive happening down the road. So him leaving the guy alone, like you're saying, garners some type of positive uptick in their ability to survive. And if he would have killed him, that wouldn't have occurred.
Yeah.
Some information or something that they glean from that guy.
Something that at least it gives Morgan a little bit of like, see, isn't it good that we're not so no holds barred, that we have my humanity, my believing that all life is precious, ended up being beneficial.
Right.
Whether
He did say that to him at the table. All life is precious. And Carol's
Yeah.
looking at him like, you, what the fuck is wrong with
Michonne's just like, that's not going to work, dude.
It's just, you're about to get voted off the island, my friend. So all we see is him get thrown over the fence. Ah!
And what I think, at least it's cool because they sit him down as a unified front.
Yeah.
It's those three main characters, which if you think, with the exception of maybe Daryl, are your main killers, right? In terms of like making decisions like that, it's all them against Morgan. So,
Yeah.
and I thought it would play out Rick versus Morgan only, and then maybe Carol doing her own thing as she typically does. But
And she finds
Are we
out
gonna-
stuff.
Are we going to see Negan tonight?
I don't think they just cast him.
Maybe,
2 weeks ago.
Maybe that's.
I bet that's in January when all
Yeah.
that rolls out, and they probably are starting because I know they've been filming and everything that's in the can now is out. They cast him 2 weeks ago. He probably goes right into production, and then I would think that'd be January.
Yeah, we'll probably see more of that group, the survivors, the ones that Daryl ran into out in the woods.
Out in the woods.
Dude immediately chopped off his arm.
Yeah,
Alright.
gotta get it. Man, they showed us that big old juicy truck full of fuel. They could have, man, that's nothing better than set that thing on fire and blown up some zombies.
Yeah. And who's on the radio saying help?
Oh yeah, I would be interested in seeing if this is the end of Alexandria.
Hmm.
It's like
The help
they-
could have been coming from somebody at Alexandria because they're being now overrun with
Yeah,
walkers.
This is somebody's rendition of the Walking Dead theme song.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I could tell right away.
So that's today's podcast.
cool.
Follow us at Binge Watch PC on Twitter. Brian at bingewatchpodcast.com for email. Bingewatchpodcast.com is the website, and search for that on Facebook. Beyond that, we're out.
All right.
Bye.
Later.